Let's journey back to the chilly lands of the East Slavs. Way back in the 800s, groups of Slavic tribes started hanging out around the city of Kiev. They formed a group called the Kievan Rus. This early group, while strong, wasn't as big or organized as the Russian Empire would later become. Then, in the 1200s, the Mongols invaded. They broke up the Kievan Ruses into lots of little pieces, all fighting each other. From this mess, a new power rose, the Grand Duchy of Moscow. The Moscow princes were clever. They outsmarted the Mongols, took more land, and even said they were the Third Rome, carrying on from the old Byzantine Empire. In 1547, Ivan IV, or Ivan the Terrible, became the Tsar. He made the government stronger, took over Siberia, and set the stage for a huge empire. But early Russia wasn't very connected to Western Europe. That changed when a new family, the Romanovs, took over in 1613. They ruled for 300 years and saw Russia get bigger, change a lot, and eventually have some big problems. This is when Russia really became a major world power. Peter the Great became Tsar in 1682. He found Russia big, but behind the times. He looked to powerful Sweden and fancy France and wanted Russia to be like them. Peter changed a lot of things. He built a new capital city, St. Petersburg, to show off Russia's new modern style. He made the army and navy strong. He even beat Sweden in a big war, making Russia a major power around the Baltic Sea. Later, Catherine the Great, who started ruling in 1762, kept up Peter's changes. Catherine, originally a German princess, loved Russian culture and also liked new ideas from the Enlightenment. Russia got even bigger under her rule, adding Crimea and parts of Poland. Catherine also made the government work better, but these changes weren't easy. Lots of Russians didn't like the new ways. The peasants, the everyday people, didn't benefit much from these changes. This difference between the rulers and the people would cause problems later. In the 1800s, Russia was at its biggest and most powerful. It stretched from the Baltic Sea all the way to the Pacific Ocean, across 2 continents. It was home to many different people, languages and religions. Russia kept growing. Alexander I beat Napoleon in 1812, making Russia a top European power. But this huge empire was hard to manage. Different groups wanted their own countries and there were lots of rebellions. The Crimean War, from 1853 to 1856, was a big loss for Russia against Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire. It showed that Russia's army wasn't so strong and that its empire might not last. Russia was also behind in technology and business. Most people were poor farmers, and this held the country back. Russia wasn't keeping up with other countries, and this, along with problems inside the country, spelled trouble. The Russian Empire started to fall apart because of its own problems. The czars didn't listen to the people, the country was hard to manage, and it wasn't modern enough. Then, Russia lost a war against Japan in 1905, which made people even angrier. World War I, which started in 1914, was the final blow. The war was terrible and made things in Russia much worse. In February 1917, people were tired of war and not having enough food. They revolted, and Tsar Nicholas II had to give up power. The Romanov family, after 300 years, was gone. This was the end of the Russian Empire. Later that year, in October, a group called the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, took over. They started communist rule. A civil war broke out and the Bolsheviks won. This led to the creation of the Soviet Union in 1922. The Russian Empire is still talked about today. It was an empire built by taking over other lands, which wasn't good. But it also played a big part in the history and culture of Eastern Europe and Central Asia. The story of the Russian Empire still affects the world today.